Hey guys, Jacob with Jacob Comics. Alright, we have an awesome video today. We're going to be reviewing Amazing Spider-Man number 12 from the new run with written by Wells, art by John Romita Jr. Now, before we get dived into that, I do want to let you guys know about the 500 subscriber giveaway. When we hit 500 subscribers, we'll be giving this book away. It's a Silver Cerberus number 1. All you have to do is like the video, comment down below, and be subscribed to the channel, and we'll be giving the book away when we hit 500 subscribers. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get dived into Amazing Spider-Man number 12. Now, there's a couple things we gotta cover before we get completely dived into the issue as always. First, I want to let you know we're going to be going heavy into spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Amazing Spider-Man number 12, that's your warning. Next up, we got to shout out the creative team because without the creative team, we wouldn't have a comic book, right, guys? So here writing, we have Zeb Wells. The pencils are done by John Romita Jr., inks by Scott Hanna, colors by Marcio Menez, and the letters are done by VC's Joe Caramagna. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started with the foreword here. And that reads, Peter Parker has the proportional speed, strength, and agility of a spider, adhesive fingertips and toes, and the unique precognitive awareness of danger called spider sense. After the tragic death of his Uncle Ben, Peter Parker understood that with great power, there must also come great responsibility. He became the crime-fighting superhero called the Amazing Spider-Man. Peter has his life pretty well put together. He's got a date with the Black Cat coming up. He's got a good job in the engineering field, though it's weird to work for reformed villain Norman Osborn's Oscorp. He's got good co-workers, like intern Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, although she and Peter don't know each other's secret identities. But things got weird when Peter's old reporter friend Ned Leeds showed him pictures of Norman Osborn with the original Hobgoblin Roderick Kingsley. Peter confronted Norman, who promised to bring Peter along to the next meeting with Kingsley. Norman broke that promise, and his next late night meeting was just crashed by the Hobgoblin. But who was wearing the mask? Could it be Ned Leeds? Knowing that Ned and Betty Brant just had a baby, we sure hope not. And it starts with the ending of last issue, where we see, there are two survivors on the scene, Norman Osborn and Roderick Kingsley. Roderick Kingsley's in a little bit better shape, and he's, go save Norman, and he's more injured. And so they get Norman and they take him in the paramedics, rush him to the hospital, and he's not in the greatest of shape. And so, he's in the hospital. A few hours later, maybe the next day, they don't really say. Peter shows up and says to Norman, "You're a liar," for saying that he was gonna do something else, but he ended up going with Roderick Kingsley to meet with Roderick Kingsley. And he said you were meeting with Kingsley tonight, not last night. And he says, I thought I could handle it myself. And Peter replies, the data doesn't bear that. Look at you. And he says, I'd rather not. And so they sort of have a little bit of banter about that. And Peter brings up that, Ned Leeds had actually said that he had some dirt on some stuff that Norman Osborn was doing, right? And he's like, he said you were up to something, and I'll have to look into that too. And Norman says, Peter, you can trust me. And Peter says, the data doesn't bear that one either. You just lied to me. And Norman says, point taken, as Peter walks out the door. And then we see Peter actually shows up at Mrs. Leeds, Ned Leeds' wife, right? And she seems very concerned about her husband, and so Peter investigates further and gets her to reveal that he's wearing the costume again, the Hobgoblin costume. And Peter says, I need you to tell me exactly where he is. And then we see Peter rushing off. Let's show this art panel right here from JR. So Peter's rushing off on the new spider glider. And, this is his thoughts. He's thinking, a small office across town. Ned tried to keep it from her, but Betty's seen the invoices. No one's a better reporter than Betty. I'm not positive I'm going to find a Hobgoblin, but when I get there, I do feel more prepared, showing up in a costume designed by Norman Osborn. Sue me. Just kind of thought it was funny. And then so we see that Peter has arrived, and Ned Leeds is there, kind of working with his, saying, and he basically says, he thinks that that Norman Osborn's out to get him. However, what's revealed in this that's very important is Peter finds out that he's actually got the Winkler device, which makes him think that he's a Hobgoblin, right? And then, just as Peter thinks, Ned must be the Hobgoblin, in crashes the Hobgoblin. Right here, as you can see, and Ned's right there. So we see Ned and the Hobgoblin show up, and the Hobgoblin's laughing, maniacally. Ah, ha, 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 ha. You're not a spider, you're a worm on a hook. And Spider-Man thinks Hobgoblin, not Leeds, not. And Hobgoblin uses his glider to completely plow through the wall with Spider-Man as a shield, beating Spider-Man up pretty good with that. And he says, and now I'll chum the skies with your corpse, as he kind of throws him out into the water. And Spider-Man thinks, guy's got some florid language, I'll give him that, but I've got to concentrate on not dying, get a web on something solid. And his own spider glider comes and saves him while chirping, fatal fall ameliorated. And he kind of lands, as he lands on it, he wasn't quite expecting the spider glider, and so he goes, and he thinks, oh, or that, I guess. And then Hobgoblin says, a glider? Is this a joke? And Spider-Man says, clearly not. as he goes, zooming away on it. Then they actually go back, just so you are aware, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, has Norman the Hobgoblin again? They go back and show Norman, no, he's still in the hospital right now. In fact, the nurse brings in some briefcases that his assistant thinks he might want to work on. And then we go back to the fight right away. So that was basically just to let you know, no, it's not him. If you think it's Norman, it's not. And then so Hobgoblin's like, what's this? You think you can take a run at me? And Spider-Man's like, sure, unless you're afraid of the new model. And Hobgoblin says, all right, then let's see what you've got. Spider-Man replies, be careful what you wish for. It might be the last thing you see. As he kind of darts past him, if you will, throws his spider webs on him, or little spiderlings that he's had if you've been seeing the more recent episodes. And that just kind of deters him a little bit. He yanks at his mask long enough to not be able to see, though, for Spider-Man to get closer, grab him by the cape, smash him into the building, basically. And so then we go back to see Norman working on his project, which we see is a suit that he calls Spider Suit Volume 3, and he's kind of watching a live feed of this Spider-Man and Hobgoblin fight. And then Hobgoblin is kind of down, And Spider-Man says, "Get up." And Hobgoblin says, "How does it feel to hide a man from his sins?" And Spider-Man says, "Shut up. Who are you? Answer me." And Hobgoblin replies, "Knowledge is earned, worm, earned in anguish and blood." And as we see, Spider-Man is much more powerful than Hobgoblin and is able to block his blows and deliver some decisive blows that then allow him to rip off the mask of Hobgoblin, revealing none other than Kingsley. And Kingsley says, "You can't possibly be surprised." Right here on that panel. And then, as you saw, if you saw just below that, his spider sense tingles because he kind of suckered him into a trap, and he sets off all these blasters from his fingertips, and one of them ends up hitting Spider-Man. And that, as Spider-Man's down, we see Roderick Kingsley say Hobgoblin say one Hobgoblin is back, and Ned Leeds makes it two, as they have the reveal of two Hobgoblins, one being Roderick Kingsley and the other being Ned Leeds. And so they're both Hobgoblin. I don't know if people were expecting that. I definitely sure wasn't. That was not. All right, so that's Amazing Spider-Man number 12. That was the cliffhanger they left us on. Obviously, if you saw it too, Ned Leeds is sort of being mind controlled by this MacGuffin device, and so he doesn't really want to be the Hobgoblin, but this device is making him think he's the Hobgoblin. Where the true bad guy Hobgoblin is Roderick Kingsley, because he fully thinks he's the Hobgoblin still, and he's the one that planted that device on Ned Leeds to kind of sway him towards being a part of his crimes and stuff. So I don't know. This was there was a bunch of reveals in this issue. I'm still, what did I say 12 issues ago on this Amazing Spider-Man run? If we get 12 issues in and we don't have any major reveals about or even like an idea of what happened to break up Peter and MJ, I'd be slightly disappointed. And so I do have to say, I am slightly disappointed right now that we are 12 issues in and we've kind of continued to have a good time, tell a fun story, always action oriented, high paced, kinetic, and fun. However, we've left a lot of the big reveals for quite a while now, and so that's a bit like a bit of a downer. Although I had fun with this issue, so in the end, I am gonna give Amazing Spider-Man number 12 a thumbs up. But it's it's kind of based on the fact that we have Dark Web coming soon, and I'm definitely hoping that gives us some reveals as to why Peter and MJ broke up. I feel like, at least maybe for me and a lot of you guys as Spider-Man fans, we'd feel a lot better. This might sit better with us, him going on a date with Black Cat and kind of like investigating what that could be like and telling some stories revolving around that. Black Cat's a super cool character. However, it might make it all sit better with everybody if they have a good reason as to why Mary Jane and Peter broke up, right, guys? So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. This issue kind of kept us moving forward with some of the bad guy storylines and was fun. But I'm definitely waiting for those reveals. So yeah, like I said, it gets a thumbs up, just barely. A lot to do with the art. I definitely enjoy John Romita Jr.'s kind of more old school art. That's what I have today, guys. Remember, if you guys like this kind of content, like, comment, be subscribed to the channel. We're almost at 500, so we'll be giving the Silver Cerberus #1 store exclusive away pretty soon. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow and have a great day.